I am Queen McRib. I'm bringing you all the CBL interview coverage, and today I have a very special guest, Alon Funnyman Martinez, who is not playing but casting in the tournament. Hello, Alon.
How's it going? How's it going,
It is
everybody?
good. It is good. How are you?
I'm doing well in a state of recovery. That's why you see a mask on my face. Went through a surgery, but we're still grinding and hustling, making things happen
You're
every day.
still here. I'd be laid up in bed. I'd be like, no one turn on a camera near me. But you're literally here for this interview. I love that.
Yes.
So, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into casting and maybe even your streaming journey too?
Yeah, so a lot of it sparked up in 2016. I've been a gamer all my life, but really in 2016, I just had an urge to go try to do the impossible. During that time, I've always competed and was really interested in the Call of Duty scene, and so I decided to try to open up my own company called Lionheart Esports. We were able to compete in some pretty like high minor events and placed like top 10, top threes in a couple of them. Soon after that, soon during that journey as well, I was really invested into Overwatch and opened up an Overwatch
Hmm.
team, and we placed top five in the open bracket division, but got knocked out before we can try to get into challengers. So yeah, it was what it was. But during that whole event, just watching the CWL at the time, and now it's turned into the Call of Duty League, so the CDL. Really great casters like Maven, Jack Courage, Puckett, Mr. X. You got Momo, Benson. Really some great personalities that really got me into wanting to try to cast and knowing that I had a team that I could substitute people out and place myself in like the observer role, and a couple others, whoever was interested. We would cast our own scrims and stuff and do it from there. So really that's what sparked the casting journey, and in that is what
Hmm.
sparked the streaming journey as well, being able to stream every day. I didn't do it consistently back then because I was most focused on competing, but during this pandemic, it's been definitely a little bit more consistent. Just being able to connect with people that I can't connect with on the daily, unfortunately, and during these trying times. But I can connect to them through Twitch and play some games that I know I'm really good at and push through it. So that's kind of everything that's happened so far with me in the story.
Nice. And so, how do you think your experience, like you have so much experience in the competitive scene, how do you think that's going to kind of play into your casting for specifically this Valorant tournament?
It it's gonna play into it because I understand what it means to be a competitor. That's the biggest thing is it's not just being able to play a game. It's a whole 9 yards. There's just like a football player goes to practice, runs drills, weight lifts, prepares himself to be able to play on a Friday night, Thursday, or on a Monday night. A lot of the esports players have to do that as well in a different form. So it's understanding strategy. It's understanding the mentality of what it's going to take. I mean, this has been said in Call of Duty, but it's also said across the board. Being able to be calm, cool, and collective. That's the three C's of competing: calm, cool, and collective everywhere. So being able to understand, not only what it means to analyze the game and educate people, but what it means to be playing the game at a high level against people that are definitely at a higher skill cap than most of your public players when you play casually online.
Mm.
So
And so you mentioned how like I mean, even though it's esports, you kind of do have to do your own version of like weightlifting, of training, of preparation. So how does health and wellness play into that? Because esports, it's like objectively so mentally taxing, so mentally demanding. You're not going to be in a perfect mental state every game. So how have you, as a competitor, as a streamer, kind of found that space for yourself?
a lot of it is through just being able to take mentorship through people, but
Hmm.
a lot of self help. Really learning about like how your brain works and what we learning about yourself was a big thing for me. Uh, I read a lot of things from John C. Maxwell, from got them back in the corner over here. John C. Maxwell, Napoleon Hill. caught a couple others, but definitely preparing your game is mentally, because esports is a mental game. Once you get the fingers down and stuff, it's a muscle memory, and that can get you only so far. I mean, you could still be good
Hmm.
with muscle memory, but your mental game is the biggest thing. And so, working on yourself is a huge thing. And for the mental side of it, I highly encourage people just to really not just read books to read books, and not just read like Narnia books or all that other stuff. Not that that's bad, but read books that can actually challenge you to think about yourself and to explore yourself in a different way, as well as listening to podcasts. I love listening to people like Les Brown on YouTube and all that other stuff. Something that encourages me, something that gives me power and drive to challenge again the thought process of being negative, and then translating that into my competitive career, as well as um, in those moments when it's hard. It's a lot easier to be calm, cool, and collected when you already have a lot of nuggets throughout the day to be able to draw on and use, and sit there and be like, yeah, this guy talked about it in that video, or I remember reading that in that book. Let's try to execute it here today and push forward, and not sit there and
Hmm.
be in a rut and, holy crap, we're 7-12. Like, there's no way in this Valorant game we're gonna be able to push it to overtime. But that's where the big
Hmm.
stars get made. I mean, Call of Duty, one of the biggest things that it was always said is search and destroys wins championships, because usually that's the last game that gets played at a final series. But I've seen competitive teams be uh, the opponents are up 5. They just need one more round to win. They haven't put anything on the board, and they reverse sweep. They win all 6 rounds in a row, win the championship tourneys, and you hear the interviews afterwards, and it's how they think about it. It's how they overcome that thought process in their mind. They don't allow themselves to be like, "This is it." They say, "There's still a possibility. There's still hope," and that's what one thing that Les Brown, one of his famous sayings that I love hearing him is he always asks his people when you're watching his videos. He goes, "Say it's possible, because it is. It's still possible until the timer's out. It's still possible." So definitely,
Hmm.
like, that's how the mental way to be able to develop yourself, and as a competitor and even as a caster in any given role, be able to push through, is going to really change how people work if you really focus on those things as well.
Yeah. And so because you have such like this rich history and like such a diverse history in the competitive scene, you have Overwatch, you have Call of Duty. Do you have like any advice that you'd give these students who are about to start this huge?
What I would say is work on yourself. Don't care about what anybody else thinks. Like, put all the pettiness aside. I mean, we were able to hear from some scrims and stuff that some teams are developing, and they're what we call the Call of Duty curse. They're hating each other and all this other stuff, and teammates. Like, take this as a profession. If you want to go big in the esports realm, you can't let some petty stuff happen. We've all been to work. We've all have not liked working with people, but you still perform at 100% or 150% to get that opportunity to get promoted and push through all the other stuff. Really work on yourself. Like, if it means a lot to you and you really want to see yourself there, 2% of the world in every aspect in life is at the successful mark in life, what people call success. If you want to be in the top 2% of esports players, it's going to take being a 2%er. It's not going to take being a 99%er that acts like everybody else and that's maybe like wishy washy. It really is going
Hmm.
to take you putting in the grind, pushing through those things, putting the petty things aside, and investing your time. Really, it just depends on how bad do you really want it? Do you really want it as much as you say you do? And if you do, your actions always are going to speak louder than words. So I could tell you guys, I want to be the best caster ever, but if I don't do anything outside of this, or if I don't do anything daily to work on myself and nobody's looking,
Hmm.
then it really doesn't mean anything. My words are just words, but actions really define those words at the end of the day. And so, my encouragement to, again, those that are considering competing, those that are going to be competing or considering casting or going to be casting, is just put 110% in it. You never know where it's going to take you. Never quit. You keep knocking on the door, and until you get a yes. That's one of the models of mine, is that I don't get discouraged if I knock on a door and I get a no. I try to get a no, because I know that eventually I'm going to get a yes. So my game is, let's see how many no's I can get before I can get a yes. because I know that somebody's going to find that value and we're going to kick off something going really well. So that would be my uh, recommendations for those that are coming into this space.
Yeah, and that's like great advice even just for new people coming onto the competitive scene who might be a little intimidated, just like, going for it, not letting anyone stop it and letting their ambition just drive them.
Any advice that you would have for the people coming in here, McRib?
Personally, I mean, I'm more of a streamer. I'm less of a competitive person, but I think a lot of our teams talked about kind of this family aspect, like being able to like lean on each other when these moments of like super high tension like come into play. And as someone who I might not play competitively, but I do have my own like people that I play with, my own friends that I play with who I play competitively in the game, it's really nice to have a family to fall back on even when things necessarily don't go our way. So treating each other and your teammates like a family, I think, is something that's like super positive and necessary on every team.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
So this has been fun as my earbud drops out of my ear. This has been so fun. So
Yeah.
informative. And as someone, I'm a new streamer myself, so as someone who has way more experience than I do, way more experience playing games, it's been super informative.
Yeah. I mean, I try to give like one of the biggest things I feel that's gotten me this far is learning how to give and expect nothing in return. I have a heart for people, and there's a saying that says you reap what you sow. So I sow as much as I can because I know one day that I'm going to reap, and it's a principles. You know, a lot of things go back to what I've read and everything that's been bestowed to me from people in bigger positions with bigger, deeper pockets or whatever than I do have at this moment. A lot of it is understanding, some common things that might not be as common to people and walking them out. And so um, I love doing things like these to be able to inform people because it's just a way to give back to the community. I know right now, again, everybody's hurting because of COVID-19, but definitely, like,
Yeah.
health and wellness is huge for us, and, information is huge for everyone, but being able to let everybody know, like, there's hope, there's possibility, there's everything at our fingertips. We just really gotta go out and dig for it sometimes, even though we don't want to, but it's what we need, at the end of the day for us to succeed and to be at a good state of mind and be able to perform at a high level at anything, whether it be streaming, whether it be running businesses, whatever it may be. We can't really function without the fact of pushing through and getting the daily stuff that we need, which is our mental and our physical um, health as well.
Yeah. And do you have any last, words of wisdom to impart on us?
I know. I think that's pretty. I got everything right on. Like this. I'm a big person that says just focus on yourself. Like not selfishly, but selflessly. If you work on yourself in a way where it's selflessly, you could improve yourself to open up opportunities later on for people. And that would be the biggest thing. One of my mentors once told me, he's like, there's this old man that like a lot of health issues, hunchback, everything. He had a lot of money, but broken relationships and everything. And he had an artist come in one day and he said, "Hey, I want you to make a statue of me. I want you to make a statue of me that's like upright, that looks like everything's in order. His relationships are good, and my like no health issues or whatever." And everybody standing on the outside looking in was like, "Man, that's super prideful. That guy right there, I knew it. He's arrogant, all this other stuff." But that old man didn't let anything phase him. So every morning he would wake up and look at the statue, and people just thought he was crazy. And every morning he would do that, month after month after month. 3 months later, he started having less of a hunch in his back. 3 years later, he's standing up straight, coming out without a walker. 4 months later, he looks pristine, or 4 years later, he looks pristine. He has but you could just tell there's different things working on himself. In a course of 15 years,
Mhm.
he's lost all. He doesn't have hunchback no more. Has a great relationships. Still has the finances that he has, and all of his health problems are almost diminished, or they're very little. And that's just towards what it takes to be willing, even after everybody's those people that say they know you and they're gonna throw trash at you. Um, after all that, he focused on working on himself to build himself better so he can live a better and longer life instead of sitting there and
Mhm.
what he's already been giving in. So that's the huge thing, like, on yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever it may be, is huge. Not for you, not just for you, but for everybody else. And if somebody's a person that cares about others, that's kind of like the best thing you can do is develop yourself to be a better person to help somebody else succeed later on in life, and whatever minute fraction it could be. It could be something as little as like, "Hey, I just started streaming yesterday. Can you help me out?" And you only have like, "I only have 150 followers." I've had a couple people ask me that. Sure, I'm not Nick Merckx, but definitely I can throw you a bone from what I know. Or it
Mhm.
could be as little as, helping my neighbors or helping my friends out, helping my mom or some random person at the store. Those are moments of success that people don't have to see a money sign or like this type of accolade. Those are still moments where you can build people, especially during a time like this where it doesn't feel like anybody has hope. We don't feel like we have family, community, a lot of tension. It does bring a breath of fresh air to be able to breathe in and know like, hey, somebody out there really does care about people and just cares about me. Like they care about you, they care about everybody else. So that would be like
Yeah.
my last things I would say. I'm really big on working on yourself. So
Mhm. And as someone who's literally here post surgery, we can you can physically attest to that too.
yeah.
So you guys will be seeing us throughout the tournament because we'll both be casting. Well, I'll be hosting, and lovely funny man over here will be casting.
Yep, I'm
And
excited to
I
go.
look forward to it. I can't wait to see you cast. Like, I'm so excited.
Yep, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to get everybody riled up there, start building the stories and getting the banter going. It's all about that. I want to see who's going to
Mhm.
be the champions at the end of the day. Who really wants it at the end of the day?